All right, folks, let's bring in Professor Emeritus, Harvard Law School, and author of the book, Guilt by Accusation, Newsmax analyst, Alan Dershowitz. Mr. Dershowitz, thank you for being here. Give us your overall assessment of this farce thus far.
Very good theater, terrible constitutional law. The videos make good theater. They're very riveting, but they prove President Trump's constitutional defense. What the House managers did is to go back in time and say the president from day one believed that the election was stolen and fraudulent, and he tried to get it reversed by all lawful means and all political means. And that's what he did. Was he right or wrong? I think he was wrong, but that's my opinion. He had the opinion that the election was stolen. Under the First Amendment, he's as entitled to his opinion as I am to mine. And the fact that the senators may not believe that it was truthful that the election was stolen makes no difference as a matter of constitutional law. The Constitution protects a person who says the earth is flat as much as a person who says it's round. The Constitution protects a Holocaust denier as much as it does a historian who can prove that 6 million Jews were killed. And the Constitution, the First Amendment, protects a president who's wrong about the election as much as a president who's right. Matters of opinion cannot be disputed or taken outside of constitutional protection. So I think that the House managers are actually helping the Trump defense by trying to prove that what he said was false. Now, they also may be trying to lay a trap for the lawyers. That is because they focus so much on the election fraud claim, maybe it'll invite the lawyers to say, no, 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 he was right. The election really was fraudulent. That would be a serious mistake because it would lose a number of senators who are now on their side.
Okay. We remember back in the year 2000, Democrats said that the election results were fraudulent. They called Bush an illegitimate president. They had problems with voting machines. In 2016, the Democrats said the same thing, that there were problems with election machines. They were protesting the election. And we saw, yes, as a matter of fact, and we saw violence erupt in the nation's capital with stores being looted, with stores' windows being busted in, cars set on fire, massive riots. Why did we not impeach Democrats after,
well, first of all,
after that? I mean, because what I'm seeing here is a predicate that if it's okay now to impeach private citizens for the actions of others, then I think that we could open up this whole can of worms and go back to 2016 where the Democrats were saying, and they were challenging the election, and we can start impeaching ourselves some Democrats. What do you think?
Hey, they can impeach me. I wrote a book in 2000 called Supreme Injustice, where I called the election of 2000 unfair. According to the Democrat House managers, you can impeach anybody who once held federal office. I was once a law clerk on the Supreme Court, so I guess I can be impeached. Nikki Haley can be impeached. Bill Clinton can be impeached. Al Gore could be impeached. He was the vice president, and he protested the election. Look, I don't think any of them should be impeached, and I think the First Amendment protects all of this speech. I don't want to see impeachment become normal and a political weapon used by both parties against the other. This impeachment is unconstitutional. It's unconstitutional because they have no authority over a former president. The Constitution says the president shall be removed upon impeachment. Not a president, not a former president, the president. There's only one the president. His name is Biden, not Trump. And so that's unconstitutional. And then trying to argue that his speech was not constitutionally protected because it was part of a bigger process. He, quote, planted the seeds. That's what politicians do. You plant the seeds and you argue over and over again that it was unfair. That's completely protected by the First Amendment to the Constitution.
See, what I'm troubled by is not only did universally every socialist Democrat up there vote for this, but 6 Republicans said, you know what? Yeah, this is a great remedy. The next time we get somebody who amasses a political following that we in Washington don't rubber stamp, then we get to go after them. I mean, the next individual that earns 75 million votes or has 75 million Americans who are out there saying, hey, I kind of like what you're saying, this opens the door for these elites on Capitol Hill to say, and, you know, Mr. Cassidy was the latest one to change his mind. Democrats are selling. So
I don't know
it's
why.
a bipartisan effort now to cut off at the knees anybody who has a political following that is amassed that these people, these elites in Washington don't like.
It it may be bipartisan, but it doesn't mean it's not political and it's not partisan. The 6 Republicans may want to be clearing the way for themselves or their colleagues to run against Biden, and they want to get Trump out of the picture. We'll see how they vote ultimately. Remember, they haven't committed themselves yet publicly to how they'll vote on innocence or guilt, unlike some of the Democrats, including the presiding officer. Leahy has already said how he's going to vote, and yet he's the presiding judge. I mean, one great proof that the framers never intended a former president to be placed on trial is because they didn't provide for who would preside. They provided that if a president, the president, is on trial, it's the Chief Justice. The Chief Justice refused to preside because he read the Constitution. He understands it. He knows that there's no provision in the Constitution for a former president to be placed on trial.
What a novel thought, reading the Constitution. Professor Dershowitz, appreciate the time, as always, here on the Chris Salcedo Show, and the expertise.
Hi, Emma Reckenberg here. If you like this video, there's a whole lot more to see on Newsmax TV. You can watch for free right here on our YouTube live stream and be the first one here each time our experts break down real news. Just hit that subscribe button, ring the bell icon, and stay with us on America's fastest growing cable news channel, Newsmax TV.